Buddy. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today is our Lunch and Learn, where we're going to be talking about what's next for your admitted student. My name, in case I haven't had the opportunity to meet all of you, is Jo Tuitt, and I'm the Director of Admissions here at the Academy. I've actually been with the Academy since 1991. For those of you that may recall, the Academy opened in 1990. So while I haven't been here every year of its existence, I have been able to meet and get to know every single one of our alumni. And I can tell you without hesitation that I am extremely passionate about the Indiana Academy and have seen just the incredible works that the Academy has done with students and how it's impacted their lives, and absolutely enjoy hearing back from our alums when they come back and share stories about all that they've been doing since graduation and how it's impacted them. So today I have just a very brief presentation on what the next steps you can expect your child and from the admissions team. I'm sorry if you could make sure you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Um, So, like I said, I am going to have just a very brief presentation about those next steps. And after that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. As I'm switching slides, I do want to apologize. I may be talking just a little bit funny. I recently had surgery, and so I'm all bandaged, and it's making it a little bit difficult to talk. So I do apologize for that. If you have trouble understanding what I'm saying, please just drop me a message in the chat box. So first I want to start with kind of understanding your students' why, because I think it's really important to be prepared for your students' transition. You have to kind of understand where they're coming from. And here we kind of call that their why. Every student has their reason, their why for coming. As parents, we can see what we think is their why, and may have a feeling for what we believe their why is. And sometimes they may have other reasons that are outside of what they share or what we can see as to what some of their other whys might be. Every student is looking for something different. Sometimes the why might be a single thing, like they're coming for a higher level of academics. And other times it might be that they're coming for a combination of different reasons. It might be that they're looking for a sense of community or a different sense of community, plus higher academics, plus internship opportunities, or whatever the case may be. So it can either be a single reason or a group of reasons. But I just encourage you to continue having those conversations that I'm sure you're already having with your students, talking with them about their different reasons for attending, so that you're going to have the greatest possible insight into how you can help them with their transition from their current school system to the Indiana Academy. So next steps. Some of you on here I know have just gotten the notification of admission. Others have gotten that and already moved through the next step of confirming the enrollment. So I just want to take a quick moment though and talk about that piece of it. When you get that initial email, there's that red box in the middle that encourages you to click there to see your updated decision. When you click on that and are reading through the letter, you'll see a hyperlinked note that says confirm enrollment. When you click on that, that's when you and your student have the opportunity to say, yes, I accept your offer, or no, I do not accept your offer. When you accept the offer, it's going to take you then to the student portal page, and you'll see a checkbox, and one of those checkboxes indicates the enrollment deposit. You're going to click on that checkbox, and then it'll take you through the steps of paying the $100 non-refundable enrollment deposit. That enrollment deposit is not an administrative fee or anything like that. It applies directly to your students' fees. So you will see on your first bill that you'll see a $100 credit. Once you pay that enrollment deposit, then there'll be some additional communications that you'll then receive. There are some that you're going to get beforehand, like for example, you may have already started receiving a weekly email from Dr. Kavars, our executive director. He sends those out on Friday, usually Friday afternoons, and just gives an update to everybody associated with the academy as to some of the things that have been happening in the past week. You will begin receiving in just the next couple of weeks a newsletter from the Office of Admissions. So you may have already been receiving kind of an in case you missed it newsletter. This is different. This is just for students and parents, students and families of those who have already been admitted to the academy. This monthly newsletter will give you updates on upcoming deadlines or things you need to know, but it's also going to be introducing you kind of to that in that next level, if you will, to different aspects of the school. So we'll help you get to know the different people associated with the academy, the different services that we have available. You'll meet some of the students that we currently have here, as well as some of our faculty. So again, that monthly newsletter just for admitted families will be start coming through very soon. And I'm so sorry, I'm picking up sound from somebody. If you want to just double check that you're muted, I'd really appreciate it. We record this and send it out, so I don't want to accidentally capture a
I'm,
private
I'm
conversation.
muted.
Okay, thank you. So that would be the weekly email from Dr. Kavars and then the monthly newsletter from admissions. And then we also will be offering once a month a virtual engagement opportunity for parents and another virtual engagement opportunity for students. So you may have received the communication for the event that we did last night for parents, which was the Snack and Chat with IAPO, the Indiana Academy Parent Organization. So I know some of you were at that. Thank you so much. For those that couldn't make it, please don't worry. We record all of these programs and we will send you that link in the admissions newsletter so that you'll be able to go back and view that at your convenience. Likewise, with today's program, it'll be in there as well. On Thursday, your students have received communication about a virtual event for them. It's an Academy Trivia Contest. It's always a very popular contest with the students where they get to know each other a little bit, and they'll play a Cahoots version of Academy Trivia, and they'll win prizes. So we try to make that a fun and engaging event for them. So again, there'll be something like this each month, one for parents, one for students, and then I believe in July, we actually have one that's combined for both. So the next steps after that, after you get, excuse me, I'm so sorry. The next steps after you do the confirmation of enrollment and pay your enrollment deposit, that's when the items in the second column you see on your screen will actually start kind of kicking in. So in April and May, you're going to receive information about signing up for orientation. You'll receive information on placement exams and information on the online enrollment forms. So let me talk just for a moment about each of those. Orientation will take place in June. Let me grab my calendar here real quick to give you those dates. It'll be June 23rd, 25th, and 27th, and you can pick any one of those. You're not assigned to one of those. You get to pick the one that's going to work best for your calendar. And we do have a makeup date in July. I believe it's July 11th. So again, you're going to get the information. You'll get the link for that, and you can go on and select the one that works best for you. You'll also receive information about it's an online portion of orientation that needs to be completed prior to orientation. For the parents and family members, it's a little bit easier. There are just some videos for you to watch. For your student, they're going to be taking their placement exams. And those are timed exams. They don't have to come here to do those. They don't have to have them proctored. It is on a trust basis. So they'll be doing those in their home. And each exam, I believe, is 60 minutes long. So they'll do a mathematics placement exam, which is used for both math and science placement. They'll do a computer apps exam, which is used for placement in our computer applications course, which is a required course for all students. They'll take a writing exam where they'll be given a prompt and then asked to write on that prompt. And the final one is their world language. So wherever they are in their world language, they're going to take this exam that kind of covers first, second, third year, and beyond. So it's a very challenging exam, but it does help us to place them in our world language, which is a collegiate level world language class. Um, if your student is one that has taken two different languages, I always recommend taking to both of the placement exams so that you have both options available. But again, they really only have to do one, but it doesn't hurt to do both of them. In June is when we'll actually have that on-campus orientation. Again, those dates are June 23rd, 25th, and 27th. And for that, the student definitely has to be here. And we do ask that one family member join. If more than one family member wants to join too, that's absolutely fine. But we do need at least one family member to join. And then in July, our residential students will receive their roommate information as well as kickoff week information, and our non-residential students will receive that kickoff information. So kickoff will actually take place in August, and you'll get all of that, more information on that coming up actually fairly soon, so that you can begin making plans for that as well. Let me go ahead and advance the slide here. So I want to take a moment and talk a little bit about their transition. Some students transition very easily from their current school to the academy. It can be a little bit more difficult, regardless of whether the student is residential or non-residential. So I just kind of want, as parents, I always appreciate it when entities give me a heads up on what I might see or what I might expect. So that's what I want to do here, is just kind of give you a little bit of a heads up as to what you might see. So there are really three different areas that the transition can kind of impact students. And those are social, intellectual, emotional, behavioral, and then, of course, physical. So let me talk just a moment about the emotional behavioral. This is very, very similar as when students are preparing to go to college, though they may be a little bit more exaggerated based on their maturity level because they are younger than that typical college age as they're preparing for the academy. So you may see your student become very clingy. You may also see them become more distant and aloof. They may test their boundaries more than usual for this age bracket. You may experience them becoming very nostalgic about different things. You might hear them saying after they've done something or maybe competed in the final track meet of the year that, oh, I'll never do that again. Or they could go the other direction. You could hear them saying, thank goodness I'll never have to do that again. When you know that this is something that they've always enjoyed. So to hear them saying, thank goodness I'll never do that again, it can be kind of shocking. These are different coping mechanisms that you may be seeing your student employ as they're trying to make that emotional and behavioral transition to what they're used to, what they know, and thinking about that new experience and the unknown. And then there will be that social and intellectual transition. You may see your student feeling guilty about leaving their friends and family. And this kind of crosses that social uh, transition as well as the emotional transition. But so they may feel guilty about leaving their friends and family behind. And I've seen some students really struggle with leaving their friends. And then for those that are transitioning residentially as well, leaving family can be a very difficult concept for them at that younger age. Getting to know a new group of friends and not knowing where they're going to fit in can often trigger some social anxieties as well. And then intellectually, they may experience what's called imposter syndrome. And I guess the easy way to describe that is to say that this is where the students feel like, oh my gosh, the Office of Admissions made a mistake and I really shouldn't be there. No, we didn't make a mistake. Every one of our students that were fortunate enough to receive that offer of admission, we know they can be very successful here at the academy. But it's a common feeling to feel like they are an imposter. Especially, we see this a little bit more after they get here and they're sitting in classes with their new classmates and trying to kind of figure out not only where they fit in socially, but there's kind of that, for lack of better terms, kind of that pecking order within the traditional school systems. And so they know where they place in that. And so trying to figure out where they place here can be very difficult. And on the academy side, we'll do what we can to kind of mitigate that, helping them to recognize that we don't put emphasis on students competing with each other. We want them, focusing more inward and putting forth their best effort, challenging themselves, stretching themselves and doing the best for them, and not worrying so much about that competition piece. If they're planning on being residential, they will experience that physical transition as well. So they will begin making some decisions on their own while they're here, like when to eat, when to do laundry, when to study. Though during the first several weeks, you may have already read that we do have mandatory study sessions that everybody sits down and studies at the same time. But they do have flexibility then after that, when they're going to sit down and do that. And it may be very different. The decisions that they make on when to eat and when to do the laundry and when to study may be very different than what you're used to seeing and doing in your home. So this is going to be an adjustment for you as well as it is for them. And they will inevitably test these new boundaries. And so I just want you to be aware that these are some of the things that you may see coming with your children, you may experience with your children. From the academy standpoint, we do have people that are trained to assist them through this transition. So they'll have their student life counselors for those that are residential and non-residential, to help guide them, to help answer questions, to be there if they just need a sounding board, to kind of give them. But they're also there for you as the parent. So if you are maybe having trouble getting your student to call you back, or you're concerned with something that you might be seeing, these are going to be contact people for you to reach out to as well. We do have our mental health services that will be there for your students, as well as the faculty and administrators. And we have different programs that we will offer to students to help teach them some of these skills that they can utilize then to aid in this, not only this transition, but then in establishing good behaviors and good patterns that'll set them up not only for their time at the academy, but then for college and even beyond. So let me take a moment here, and I want to introduce you, if you will, to a few key people. You'll get to know more about them through the coming months, through our different online family programs, as well as at orientation. But you'll see there on your screen, on the left-hand side, this is Dr. Joel Uluvuata. He is the Director of Academic Affairs. So he manages the area that houses, if you will, all of the teaching staff and as well as our academic and college counseling staffs. So he will be responsible for helping you identify the graduation requirements. And he'll talk with you about AP classes and dual credit classes. His team also is responsible for tutoring opportunities that are available. So he's going to be a very key person in all things academic. On the right-hand side is Mr. Paul Douglas, who's the Director of Residential and Student Affairs. He supervises all of the student life staff as well as nursing and mental health services. So his team will be there to assist you with anything for those residential students, anything within the residence hall, roommate pairings, conflict resolution. He's also in charge of all of those extracurricular activities as well as athletics. So he will be helping students to find those different opportunities to be involved in. As well as the health services. Then these are three of the key counseling team members that I want to introduce you to. You'll see Miss Meg Wright. She is the Assistant Director of Academic Advising and Guidance. So her role is probably more similar to that of a traditional guidance counselor that you might be working with now. So she'll be making sure the students are on track to graduate. She'll help them work with their academic advisors to schedule their classes, to make sure they're in the right levels of the classes, and that sort of thing. In the center there, you'll see Miss Casey Schultz, who is the Associate Director of College Counseling and Student Engagement, and she'll begin working with your students about as soon as they get here, helping them to identify the colleges that are going to be good fits for them, scholarships that they'll want to apply to, and helping them to investigate different career options. So she will be very key, particularly in that senior year, but like I said, she does start very early. And then we have Dr. Mindy Walpe, who's the Associate Director of Mental Health Services, and she supervises a team that is there to help your students with adjustment issues, with any other things that they might want to talk through. She is a licensed psychologist, and she supervises a staff of soon to be licensed psychologists through Ball State University. So she's available for one-off counseling as well as more consistent counseling appointments as well. So again, these are just three of the key people in some of those counseling roles that I wanted to mention. They will be working very closely with your students. You'll have an opportunity to meet at least Mrs. Wright and Mrs. Schultz at orientation. I'm not sure that Dr. Walpe will be at orientation, but you'll definitely have an opportunity to meet her at kickoff in August. So that's just a very quick walkthrough of what you can expect in terms of the next steps, as well as what you might see and or experience with your student as they're beginning to transition from their current school system to the Indiana Academy, and then a few of the key people that I wanted to introduce you to today. So now I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. If you're here in the Zoom room and you have a question, you can drop that into the chat box. And if you're watching this on one of our social media platforms, you can drop that into the comments, or you can email me at the email address that you see on the screen. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and actually turn off the recording so that I can begin answering those questions. So if you'll just give me a very quick moment to do that. And as the recording is ending, I want to thank you all so much for joining me today.